But with that being said, it is my belief that the vaccine status of every person should be their own choice, and completely up to them, without bullying, without being pressured, or without being forced into doing so. I'm not ashamed to say that I'm uncomfortable with taking the vaccine at this time.
Yeah, Ikhwan, it's Robo the Rebel back with another video. Today's video, an unvaccinated NBA player speaks out. But before we get to the video, even a smile is charity, so go ahead and give your brother Sadaka by like, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. So, unvaxxed NBA player Jonathan Isaacs of the Orlando Magic, a forward for the Orlando Magic, is speaking out uh, about being unvaccinated. There was an article written by Rolling Stone that actually misquoted the brother, so he wanted to clear it up on the NBA media day. So let's jump right into the video here.
Jonathan, Jamie Say, WKMG. Wondering if you can comment on the Rolling Stone article and your comments that appeared on that about you not getting a vaccination, why you don't want to get a vaccination, and were you misquoted in that article?
I would start by saying that I was pretty badly misrepresented in the Rolling Stone article, and because of that, I can understand anyone who may say they don't transparently or overtly trust the media. In a frustrated tweet yesterday, I had noted that true journalism was dying, and to that, I would say that I appreciate every single one of you, those that try their best to correctly share the thoughts, the ideas, and the heart of the people that they're asking questions of. I'm not anti-vax. I'm not anti-medicine. I'm not anti-science. I didn't come to my current vaccination status by studying Black history or watching Donald Trump press conferences. I have nothing but the utmost respect for every healthcare worker and person in Orlando and all across the world that have worked tirelessly to keep us safe. My mom has worked in healthcare for a really long time. I thank God, I'm grateful that I live in a society where vaccines are possible and we can protect ourselves and have the means to protect ourselves in the first place. But with that being said, it is my belief that the vaccine status of every person should be their own choice, and completely up to them, without bullying, without being pressured, or without being forced into doing so. I'm not ashamed to say that I'm uncomfortable with taking the vaccine at this time.
So I'm going to pause it here. So this brother is very well spoken, very articulate. He's only 23 years old, and I wish that other black men, especially around the NBA or especially in the media, the media has a lot of bootlicks and a lot of liberal shills that obviously are attacking this brother for what he's saying, and we'll get to some of that a little bit later here. But like you said, the Rolling Stone article, as soon as they find out some player doesn't want to be vaccinated for whatever reason, then it's, oh, he's an anti-vaxxer. And the brother articulately stated that, hey, he's not anti-medicine, he's not anti-vax, so forth and so on. And I'm glad he had an opportunity to clear this up. And I wish more of our black athletes would speak this well and be this articulate with what he's saying. And it's such a shame that some of the elder statesmen of the in the NBA are not speaking up as well as this brother. And obviously, right now, and I'll go ahead and jump into this right now. He's actually being praised for what he said, but just last year, he was being uh, demonized by the pro blacks or the new wokey wokes, the new blacks on Twitter and the new blacks on social media, right? Those people who just discovered being black by watching Blackish or one of these silly uh, talk shows, or excuse me, one of these silly sitcoms on Netflix. The brother was being demonized last year because during the bubble, when they were in the bubble, the NBA players were in the NBA bubble. Some of them, took a knee with Black Lives Matter and I Can't Breathe t-shirts on, and he stood up with his jersey on. And I don't begrudge the brother at all, because that silly protests, that silly symbolic nonsense of kneeling somewhere, was, obviously introduced to Kaepernick, who's, like I said before, he's a corporate pawn. Other than outside of his know your rights camp, which is a good thing that he's taking time with the children, and I support that fully. But anything else Kaepernick had going on, is just symbolic nonsense. So let's keep going with the video here.
I think that we're all different. We all come from different places. We've all had different experiences and hold dear to different beliefs. And what it is that you do with your body when it comes to putting medicine in there should be your choice, free of the ridicule and the opinion of others.
Great answers this brother's
with
giving.
The Athletic. Hesitant to get it.
I would start with I've had COVID in the past, and so our understanding of antibodies, of natural immunity has changed a great deal from the onset of the pandemic, and is still evolving. I understand that the vaccine would help if you catch COVID, and you'll be able to have less symptoms from contracting it. But with me having COVID in the past and having antibodies with my current age group and physical fitness level, it's not necessarily a fear of mine. Taking the vaccine, like I said, it would decrease my chances of having a severe reaction, but it does open me up to the, albeit rare chance, but the possibility of having an adverse reaction to the vaccine itself. I don't believe that being unvaccinated means infected, or being vaccinated means uninfected. You can still catch COVID with or without not having the vaccine.
Look at this. How can you refute what he's saying? What he's saying, others have said. In the CDC, we've seen so many news reports saying exactly what he's saying. The CDC, you have so many different people inside the CDC contradicting each other. We know that you can be vaccinated and still catch C-19. You can still spread it. There are still people who, have been vaxxed and are still dying, right? So what the brother is saying is not unintelligent. It's very well thought out and very well reasoned. And this brother's 23, and I love seeing this from, the younger generations, because unfortunately the baby boomer generation and Generation X, man, a lot of those guys are on the coon train. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, as they get older and as they get money, they don't want to jeopardize their livelihood. But this young brother is speaking very articulately, and he has more to lose than some of these guys. Would this cost him his NBA career? He's only 23, so who knows how far this brother has yet to go in his NBA career.
I would say honestly the craziness of it all, in terms of not being able to say that it should be everybody's fair choice without being demeaned or talked crazy to, doesn't make one comfortable to do what said person is telling them to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, just simply saying, hey, it's other people's choice, you get demonized for saying that. This is weird. So there's some type of programming going on when you can't simply just say, hey, look, that choice isn't for me right now. Maybe down the line, it's my personal choice, my decision. You're demonized. So that there's something else going on here. It's not just, hey, it's your body, your choice, like we've been told all these years. Now all of a sudden, you're public enemy number one if you just simply say, hey, even if you got vaxxed and you said, hey, I got vaxxed, but it's other people's choices. It's just insane.
I would say that's a couple of the reasons that, I would say I'm hesitant at this time, but at the end of the day, I don't feel that it is, anyone's reason to come out and say, well, this is why or this is not why.
Right.
It should just be their decision.
It's their decision. Absolutely.
Loving your neighbor is not just loving those that agree with you or look like you or
exactly.
Move in the same way that you do. It's loving those who don't.
And it's funny, we notice who the biggest people are propagating this. So what he said about loving your neighbor, even when you disagree with them, even when they disagree with you, They don't have to agree with you. They don't have to look like you. They don't have to be the same. We see who the biggest culprits are. Who the biggest culprits are um, with pushing this agenda and demonizing other people. It's the white liberals and their black um, liberal shields, the Democratic shields, the black ones. So we know that this came from the Republicans. We know this came from the conservatives. Conservatives are, they're open with it. They're clear with, hey, you're not like us. You're not white Christian, Protestant Christian, what have you, Anglo-Saxon Saxon Christian. Let me be specific with white. They'll accept maybe a black conservative, a Hispanic conservative, an Asian conservative, but they're clear with, hey, you got to look like us and be just like us, or we don't accept you. Now it's the white liberals, the white Democrats who say we're for diversity. But now diversity. No, we don't want you to be diverse now. We don't want you to have a brain. We want you to all think the same. So I'm applauding this brother here. Let's keep going. Let's see what else is going on here.
Follow-ups of that. Mike Bianchi, Orlando Sentinel. I'm sure you've probably been vaccinated for some other stuff, measles, things like that. What's the difference between that and this? And also, how do you feel about the more stringent protocols for unvaccinated players in the NBA?
When it comes to other vaccines, I think it's pretty simple. Of really taking any modern medicine, I think that too should be your free choice. If I had to take anything when I was a kid, it was the free choice of my parents or whether or not to give it to me. And yeah, I'm not anti-science. I'm not anti-modern medicine. If I get sick enough, I'm going to the doctor. If my current, if my wife, when we do have kids, I'm not going to deliver the baby myself. I'm going to take her to the hospital. And so it really does come down to just believing that it's a free right of us as individuals to take it or not. And then when it comes to the NBA and them having restrictions or rules in place, the NBA is free to make those decisions. And I, as a member of the NBA, would follow suit with whatever protocol is set before us. My only point would be, and it was pointed to in the article, but still not in the way that I referred to it. If the NBA is to give us regulations like we can't, maybe sit at the same part of the plane as the other players or eat in the same room as the other players, my only, I guess, thought on that would be, I don't think it would logically follow for us to then play on the court and share the same ball and bump chest and do all those things. So if the NBA is going to do those things, I would honor it. But at the same time, I would ask that it doesn't seem logically consistent.
Yeah, this brother's, he's batting 1,000 here. These questions, he's knocking all these questions out the park. He's simply breaking it down. So when I've heard this talking point where you took vaccinations as a kid, well, damn, if my parents decided to get me vaccinated, what could I do as a child? Could I say no? There's some people whose parents didn't get them vaccinated. There's some people whose parents got them vaccinated. But as a child, you don't have a choice one way or the other. You have to follow what your parents doing. But now as an adult, they try to make this false comparison or false analogy where you got vaccinations when you were a kid. That was my parents' choice. But now that I'm an adult, it's my choice. And they don't get that. And like he said, all of these things with the NBA right now doesn't have, they haven't mandated the vaccinations, right? They haven't mandated that players get vaccinated. So right now, it's the player's decision. Maybe some organizations, or maybe in some certain states, I think like New York or New Jersey, because I think Kyrie Irving falls under that he can't play any of the home games, but he can play away games. But like the brother said, if you're gonna try to have us sit in different places and we got to quarantine, then that's a contradiction if we're gonna be out there playing. Now the NBA has come out and said, okay, for any games that unvaccinated players can't play, they're not getting paid for. Okay, so that's going to be their choice. But the brother said, hey, I'm going to follow suit. I'm part of the NBA. I have to follow what it is. So I'm going to stop it here because I want to jump over and look at some things with some of the bootlicks that we see out here. You guys check this video out. It the brother gives excellent answers to every question. He knocks it out of the park. And like I said, he's only 23 years old. The brother's only 23 years old, and he's very articulate and answering these questions and he's leaving these journalists dumbfounded right here when he's live and it's video, and you can actually see the context in which he's stating what his questions. He's answering right there, and you can see the context of the questions, but you don't see you don't have someone interpreting for you here. So here's Big Dummy Hill, Mark Big Dummy Hill, or Mark Lemoy Shill. This guy, so he's just actually coming out of, no, actually, I think he's still in the hospital, as a matter of fact. I think he had like a mini heart attack or something, and, he's been vaccinated. And all of a sudden now this guy, he's in his mid-40s. I'm not exactly sure how old he is, but look at what this guy says. So he says this video sounds smart to people who don't know things. This guy, so they always send the black bootlick out to attack a brother when he's making excellent points, or sister even. The sisters don't get it as bad as the black men, and this is why I'm making this video, because the black man is always under attack, right? So expect the other shields to come out. Stephen A. Smith, I haven't seen, he hasn't reacted to this yet. What is her name? Joy Reid, expect for her to come out. These are all these Democratic shills out here for the for the liberals, the white liberal masters that they have. There's a host of them. I'm sure. What's her name? The frog face. Jamel Hill. With the predator braids. She'll be out here next, right? So he's getting blasted in the comments. If we go down and look at some of the tweets responding to his crap, right? This is the guy. Even Barrington Martin is is a known coon as well. But even he's, saying Martin, Mark, some silly stuff. And we go into quote tweets. Oh my gosh, the quote tweets. I mean, one guy said something about, Mark, you're the guy. You're the biggest clown on Twitter. Let's just keep going. One guy said that Mark, you are the guy. Yeah, here it is right here. This brother right here. Says the dude who thinks men can get pregnant. Mark Lamar Hill has said that in the past, that, men can get pregnant. This idiot. These people are the biggest impediment to black progress, and I'm not talking about the intelligent young man speaking. Exactly. Everybody who's seen this thing's got over 7.3 million views, right? Yeah, kind of proving his point. Exactly. They send these, they give these guys their marching orders, and they go out here and start talking all this junk about somebody. This young man is very articulate. Rich, coming from the same guy who said men can have baby, right? People, these guys, it's clear these guys' agenda at this point. Mark suggests this, offers no data to back it up. He's not going to. His thing is to come out and demonize what the guy says, right? Says the guy who said men can menstruate. Exactly, right? So I'm not gonna keep going on. You guys can go take a look at this for yourself. These shills, man. These shills are just some of the worst out here, man. It is, just it's a shame, man, that we have to share a community with these type of people who will demonize a young man like this, as opposed to reaching out to the brother and then discussing it with him. But hats off to Jonathan Isaacs. This is the brother's name. With the Orlando Magic, he's a forward. Much success to that brother, because he's very articulate, very well thought out, reasoned responses to some of the questions that he was being asked. And go check out that Rolling Stone article as well, because if this is what this brother believes, which I believe sincerely that it is, because he's speaking it, and what's written in the Rolling Stone article, they totally flipped what he said and turned his brother into an anti-vaxxer. So I'm glad he stated it point blank that he is not an anti-vaxxer. And as a matter of fact, on the thumbnail here, the screen is when he stood as opposed to kneeling, and I'm glad he didn't. Don't get on your knees for nobody, and I'm glad this young man did that. Those are my final thoughts, brothers. And you know, we have to protect young men like this. We have to stand up for what's right, stand against injustice. Masalama ikhwan.